Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bunicula cast. Excuse me, what's it called? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Podicula podcast. Whatever it's called, it's the internet's premier Bunicula fan cast. And my name's Jackson McMurray.
My name's Adeline McMurray. Man, I sure know a lot about this book series.
The Bunicu cast. The Bunicu cast is what we are.
Binoculast.
This is the Bunicu cast, and I'm Jackson McMurray.
And I'm Adeline McMurray. And I've been bitten by a radioactive bunny.
No, you're a bunny who's been bitten by a vampire.
Is the vampire radioactive?
It could be, I guess. I don't know. Does a vampire have to be radioactive? So
yes,
hold on.
Of it.
Okay, hold on. If you are bitten by a radioactive spider, you take on the properties of a spider. Yes? Everyone knows this.
Yes.
This is true for all things, right? If you're bitten by a radioactive bear. If you're bitten by a radioactive
man.
Bat, like Batman was.
Yeah.
But if you are bitten by a regular Dracula, then the same thing happens. You take on the properties of a Dracula.
But then you're a double vampire if it's
radioactive. So yeah, if it's a radioactive vampire, how much more of a vampire could you become than just becoming a regular vampire?
You become a double vampire. Everybody knows this.
I guess maybe you also become a radioactive vampire as opposed to just a regular
you gain the
one.
Radiation. Like if you go to Chernobyl, you turn into an elephant. You get the elephant foot.
Right. The elephant foot.
You catch the elephant foot.
Is that some kind of horrible disease that's real, or are you making that up?
No, that's what in Chernobyl, when the radiation busted open like a can of like a can of dough inside of a hot car, they call it the elephant's foot. Have you never seen the elephant's foot?
No, I don't feel like I really want to either.
No, it's too late. I've already typed it into Google.
No. Don't show me the elephant's foot. I don't want to see it.
It's not gross. It looks like a bunch of dough.
That sounds real gross. And it's a person's body?
No. It's just radiation.
Oh, it's just the thing that... I thought you were talking about a mutation that somebody contracted.
No.
I was like, oh god, Adeline, no.
Why?
That's what I was wondering.
No, yeah, it's just like radiation that's seeped out of it, and they call it the elephant's foot. And if you touch it, you explode.
Like molten uranium?
Yeah. No, it's not like the elephant man. It doesn't even look like an elephant's foot.
I thought you were just like Googling horrible deformities to start showing me pictures on Discord. I was like, fuck, no, Adeline, this is not a good energy for our podcast.
Man, you know what's really sad?
The elephant man?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, it's super sad. You want to know what else is super sad? Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Let's get into it.
Oh, yep, I cry every Tim.
It's very sad. The saddest movie? The saddest of all movies? Perhaps. Let's dig into it.
I got my fork, I got my knife, I'm ready to cry. Just like every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so, and, we're watching the Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire this week, in case you weren't paying attention when you clicked on this podcast. I just want to start off with right at the beginning. We've got... Okay, what do you think of this movie, Adeline?
I think it's my favorite of the series thus far.
Yeah, honestly, kind of same.
It's super good. For a really long time, I thought the third was my favorite one, but I feel like the third was kind of boring after watching it a second time. This one's really good.
Yeah, and sort of my big takeaway from it was like, in almost all ways, the third one is like a better movie, right? It's like more tightly crafted. Everything is so much more economical. Like in terms of like just sort of the way that it's written, everything is so much more immaculately put together, It's also based off of a shorter book, though. Yeah. But it's sort of the result of that is that it's, it's got great tension of release and it's very exciting and it's engaging the whole time. But emotionally, I never felt especially engaged with it, you know? Which is sort of the opposite of the way that this movie is. Because in a lot of ways, it's kind of a disaster.
Oh, yeah.
But I also found it a lot more just
fun.
Emotionally compelling than any of the other ones have been so far.
Well, this movie does such a good job, way better than the other Harry Potter movies have, of, like, having more fun with, like, magic and being a little bit sillier, but then also being a lot more serious, like, when they needed to be. Like, it just had a really good control of its tone so that they could, like, play with it without giving you whiplash.
Right.
Like the scene, to jump forward into the movie, like that scene where during Defense Against the Dark Arts, where he's showing them the forbidden curses, he's making the spider, like, dance around. And everyone's like, oh, haha, he's controlling the spider. And then he immediately turns around and is like, oh, what will I have it do next? Jump out the window? Drown itself? And the scene, like, stops because you realize, oh, shit.
Yeah, no, that scene's great. That scene works really well. Okay, the first thing I want to dig into, though, is that, like, the first, like, 20 minutes of this movie are a fucking disaster.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
They're a total dumpster fire.
It's
like, everything is so, like, not, like, fast-paced, like, rushed. And it's, like, so, the way it's shot is so, like, claustrophobic. And I never have any sense of, like, who is in any given scene.
Yeah.
Like, right at the beginning, they're at the Quidditch World Cup, right? And, like, there's all these people around, and they're doing all these things, and they're like, oh, come on, Harry, we're going to this old boot. And it's like, there's no, like, big establishing shot or, like, shot where everybody has a little line to be like, here's who's in this scene.
Yeah.
It's like every time somebody just shows up, I'm just like, oh, fucking, I guess
great,
Fred
whatever.
and George were here this whole time. Like, I can't keep track of what's happening in this.
No, literally, it's like, nightmare, wake up, guess what, everyone's here, you're in the burrow, wake up super early, we're gonna touch a boot, boom, we're in Ireland or whatever, boom, there's a bunch of people, Harry forgets how magic works for a second, boom, KKK's here. That's just, like, the whole opening of this film. Okay, what's up with that, though? Because they go to, like, their tent that they've, like, set up, and it's like, haha, it's small, and Harry's like, what's up with this small tent? How are we all gonna fit in this small tent?
Right.
And it's like, Harry, do you remember that magic thing that you've been doing for 3 years?
Okay, I am gonna say, though, there's this, like, fairly long shot. It's maybe, like, the longest shot in the whole, like, first 20 minutes of this movie, where it's, like, sunrise, and there's this really long tracking shot of, like, their legs against the sunrise panning over towards the boot.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, oh, it's, like, perfect. It's chef's kiss. It's really, really beautiful. It's just, like, this weird moment where it's, like, everything's a horrible nightmare until there's, like, 10 seconds of, like, this really gorgeous shot.
And that's what keeps you going.
Exactly, yeah.
Going back a little bit, I love during the nightmare, because the nightmare scene is fun. It's fun in the books. It's kind of weird in the context of the movie. But I love how Voldemort goes, I want to give him a proper greeting. Abracadabra! I thought that was really good. I thought that was a cool, good thing that they did, and it wasn't corny or bad at all.
Right. Two things that I have written down in sequence on my first page of notes. First is too fast, bad fast. Is this movie bad? Question mark. That's what I was thinking about.
I'm like to believe that. Also, apparently the actor who plays Cedric is just always that pale. Because literally that first shot that he's there and he's so pale, I was like, there's Twilight Man.
Yeah, but he's going to be Batman. And he's going to be Batman and he's going to kick ass at it.
And he's still going to be that pale. He's just a pale boy.
Yeah, but that works for Batman because he's in his little cave all the time.
Batman is a pale boy. It's from that alleyway that he lives in.
The Quidditch sequence itself, I don't know. I have a complicated feeling about it because it's still way too fast and it's very much part of this opening sequence that's just too fast.
Yeah.
But that like 90 seconds of like they're at the Quidditch World Cup and the game is going on right now is really fun and exciting.
Yeah. No, that's what I talk about. This movie has so much more fun with like magic in like the world than the other ones do, because like that's like the tournament is like super fun. Like I remember in the books, there's this really cool part of it where Harry, like, looks around and he sees, like, little kids with, like, toy brooms and stuff. And he kind of realizes that to a lot of people, like, magic is their whole world. And to him, it's only, like, a part of his life. And it's a really cool scene in the books. And then, and it's cool in the movie, but we have to go past it so fast. Right. And I wrote down, it's like, they don't show us the Quidditch game, like, even a little bit. Like, not even the highlights or anything. And it's just, like, I mean, like, good? Because I don't know if I would want to watch a whole Quidditch game, and this movie is already, like, 2.5 hours. But, like,
right.
Also, why are we here if it's not to watch the Quidditch game?
Yeah, and I really like the production design of the Quidditch stadium, too. Because it would have been so easy to just be like, oh, it's like a football stadium or whatever. Yeah. But, like, it's designed with the sport of Quidditch in mind, you know? Yeah. Like, it's piled up on these huge walls of just people because it takes place in midair, you know? Yeah. Like, you're not just going to be watching it from the ground. You've got this, like, cylinder of just people around this Quidditch field. Yeah,
Lucius, as he passes the Weasleys, and he has to make a snide remark. Yeah. And he's like, if it rains, you'll be the first to know because you're so high up. It's like, that's probably the best seats for a Quidditch game where the people are flying around. Yeah. Like,
I've got courtside seats. I get to touch the grass.
Yeah, I can see dirt that they will not be touching. I will have a sprained neck from looking up the whole game.
I get to look up the players' robes.
Because I'm Lucius and I'm into that.
They don't like it when you do that, but I do.
It's my little secret. Anyway. But this, in the books, this is also the Quidditch match that just lets you know that Quidditch is a bullshit game.
Yeah, Quidditch. Okay, I've said it before on this podcast, and I'll say it again. Just make the snitch worth less. Yeah, make the snitch worth less points. If it were worth 50 points, the game would make sense again.
Yeah. Well, because if I remember in the books, the whole thing is that Victor Crumb gets to snitch, and the game ends, but then his team loses.
Right.
Somehow. Which means that they were just thoroughly getting an ass thrashing from the other team, which had to be 100 points ahead.
Right, yeah.
So, anyway.
So, yeah, it's just like, it's stupid. And, like, it's so dumb.
It's dumb.
It's so dumb. Whatever. I can't continue to do this right now.
Or I've had a question my whole life, and I don't know if anyone can answer it, about Harry Potter. Okay. Is the Minister of Magic in charge of all magic, or just in England?
I think he's the regional guy.
Because they,
I think it's just England.
They, talk to, other ministers, too. At some point. And even in this movie, there was, the African wizards who were, there for, one shot for a second.
Right. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they are not ruled by the same guy.
Yeah. I don't like that. I don't like England being in charge of all magic.
I don't know. It's
the colonialism. I don't like it.
I think it's just for England.
I think it is too. But why is he here at the Quidditch match then? If it's between Ireland and Bulgaria.
You know what? That's a really good question. Actually, I think he is the Minister of Magic of the whole world.
He shouldn't be doing that.
Right. And then later when he stops being the minister and then somebody else steps in, it's another English guy.
Yeah, it's another old
it'd be
white
one
guy.
Thing if it were there's one guy who's in charge of everything, but right now it just happens to be an English guy.
Yeah, no.
It seems like it's always an English guy. I think it's an English guy in Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Him too.
No, it's a lady. Isn't it the black lady?
Oh, I don't know, maybe. I don't like those movies, so I can't remember.
Yeah. Either way, she's still British.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're at Hogwarts.
Oh, wait. Are we going to skip over the KKK Death Eater scene?
I mean, what do you have to say about it?
I mean, I was just, shocked at how biting that was nowadays. I don't think that was... Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it definitely still had a punch when it came out, but, especially now, it's oh, woof. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
that feeling. Woof.
No, especially, and there's that great moment where I don't know if it's during this time or later when they're like, how did that happen? I'm sure there was like tons of security, and they're like, there was tons of security. That's why we're so freaked out about it.
Yeah.
That's just like it's a really, really effective.
Yeah. Well, and especially
line of
because,
dialogue.
right, it's another one of those really harsh tonal shifts where we go from the Wizard Cup, which is super fun magic, like exploring the universe, like just
Right.
hanging out, to like the Death Eaters are here and they're going to kill everyone, and it's just such a like harsh tone shift. And
Right.
the way that they handle it is super effective because you have them just like hanging out inside the tent and they've been hearing people yelling all day, and then suddenly they hear people yell just a little bit different, and then suddenly they're horrified and they have to wrap everything up. Like, it's just so effective.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So now we're at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
My favorite bit in this whole movie, they're talking about the beginning of the year and they're introducing the Triwizard Cup.
Yeah.
And then their sky, there's lightning in it for some reason. And then Mad-Eye Moody comes out and shoots a laser at it, and there stops being lightning.
Wait, I thought that was like an alarm system that Barty Crouch was in Hogwarts. I thought that was the whole thing.
If it is, they do not speak a word of it.
I thought that was a thing. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm just helping J.K. Rowling out.
Right.
I thought that's what that was.
Well, because just for me watching the movie, what happens is they're talking, lightning happens, everyone is scared, everyone's like, oh no, something's wrong, this isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And then Mad-Eye Moody just comes in and shoots a laser at the roof.
And it stops.
And we're good now.
We missed some really good things on the train. First of all, we have the coolest thing about Ron is his... There's no good way to say this, but like the fact that what's core of his character is that he comes from a poor family and he hates it. And so we see a little bit of the train, and we see that throughout the films and like his moments of jealousy with Harry, but it's never like so specifically said as it is on the train when he like goes to buy candy and realizes he can't get all of the candy that he wants. And it's a very sad
and especially
moment.
in this movie that's so built around the friction between the two of them.
Oh yeah,
It's
like,
a really good way to
sort of line.
Yeah, just like start building just some sand in the gears of their relationship.
Oh, but then literally 2 seconds later, Cho Chang walks up to the trolley and orders some pumpkin pasties. What the hell are pumpkin pasties?
I'm more concerned about the fact that why didn't she order them when the trolley came by
her, because she comes from the other direction.
Or is it the opposite? She's just too impatient. She has to go up and get her pumpkin pasties right now. Yeah.
What
She's
are
jonesing
they?
for pumpkin pasties.
Oh.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, winky face. Also, and then Hermione's like, you should write to Sirius to establish the fact that you've been in communication with Sirius, which is fine. But then Harry just like writes a letter and just writes Sirius Black on it, like he's not a known criminal. And then gives it to Hedwig, which should just have a tattoo on her that says, I'm Harry Potter's owl. And then he's just like, this is fine. This was a smart thing to do.
I mean, it's not like it's going through the post office.
But
it's just going straight to him.
But then when he gets the letter from Sirius, and Sirius is like, I didn't send you Hedwig because the ministry has been taking letters, and everyone on the planet knows that Hedwig is your owl. And it's like, yeah, Harry, you dumbass.
It's because Sirius is smarter than Harry is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's not a joke. That's just the truth.
This is basic stuff.
The next thing I have written down is just that there's that one shot at the very beginning where we like see things from Mad-Eye Moody's perspective, and there's like little whizzing Terminator noises in his eyeball. I don't like that. I don't like that there's Terminator noises in his eyeball.
Can we talk about the stupid group ensemble dances that both the schools do?
Yeah, they're dumb.
They're dumb and bad.
Why doesn't Hogwarts get to do one? That should have been part of it.
Yeah, they're like, why doesn't their glee club come out and do something?
That's my favorite thing, is that every once in a while they show you like just little bits and pieces of these like extracurriculars at Hogwarts.
Yeah, like
there's the choir in the third one, or the band in this one, and it's like, I want to know more about that. Like, who's taking music electives at Hogwarts?
Yeah, what's going on there? Oh man. And also, I mean, beating a dead horse when it comes to talking about Harry Potter, but all of the stuff that's around the Triwizard Tournament is just so stupid.
Yeah, it's
like,
just the whole thing.
Everyone knows that it's a bad idea. They're all, like, aware that it sucks and that they shouldn't be doing it, and they're all simultaneously, like, trying to fix it a little bit, but they're still, like, doing it.
No, yeah, and, like, I think to me, what would fix it most of the way is just have a line of dialogue. It could even just be lazy, and it not really matter, where they just say, like, oh, and if something goes wrong and it seems like they're for real gonna die, then there are, like, referees who will, like, freeze time or something. Like, something lazy and bullshit like that would even work.
Well, it's like, because they keep doing these things to, like, kind of protect the kids. They do, like, the age restriction, so it's like, it's not...
They're conscientious of the danger.
Yeah, well, which implies that there's not, like, hard and fast, like, traditional rules that they have to follow or Hogwarts will explode or something. Like, there's no there's no stakes. It's just like they just make up these rules and then they make up different rules, and then at one point McGonagall talks to Dumbledore when Harry gets chosen, and she's like, hey, we should break the rules and do something else and make new rules. And Dumbledore's like, no, but the rules. And it's like, y'all.
Yeah. No, and it's like, I even remember in the dragon sequence, like, they cut to all these reaction shots of, like, the professors being, like, deeply afraid of what's happening. And it's like, hey, this is fucked up, though. Like,
well,
just,
like...
if you just made it so that there was, like, some kind of fallback, some kind of contingency plan, and then have the professors be a little bit chiller, everything would be fine.
Are there no spells that, like, keep, like, you can't die? Are there no, like, no death zone spells?
Probably not, Adeline. That would break everything.
Oh, yeah, I guess. But there's also, like, they talk about there are no spells that can bring people back from the dead. And it's like, why not? It's fucking magic, you guys. Like, come on.
It's like the genie. He has to have rules, otherwise the whole thing falls apart.
I know, but, like, I guess you gotta, I don't know. I just hate magic so much.
I know, it sucks.
Magic sucks, dude.
The next thing I wrote down is just that the Triwizard Cup just says Whiz on it.
It does.
Which I think is really funny.
Good.
But
what I also don't understand is that I get that Harry putting his name in the Goblet of Fire is, like, bad news bears. But, like, the whole thing with the cup is that it picks a champion from each of the schools. So why the hell did Cedric get chosen at all? Like, because if Harry got put in the goblet, then Harry would have been the champion for Hogwarts, and it still would have been a big thing, and everyone would have freaked out and said he cheated. But then why does Cedric also get chosen? Like, why does Hogwarts get two, is what I don't understand.
Right. I don't know. Because it's rigged by Barty Crouch the Third.
But why would I guess Cedric's a spare. I don't understand why he needs
why not
to
just make it Harry Potter? Yeah, no,
that's
a good point.
Because then the students would have to be like ride or die for Harry. They couldn't have Cedric to like instead, you know?
Right. But don't you think that this movie, like, at its core, like, thematically, I feel like is mostly about the friction between Harry Potter and the people around him.
Absolutely.
When he starts to get, like, angry and pubescent, and, like, Cedric is one of those people, because suddenly everybody, it's like somebody, and it's not like they've been friends for a long time, but they're, like, familiar with each other and friendly with each other, but all of a sudden, like, people start, like, having to, like, take sides between the two of them, and people that like Cedric are, like, wearing Potter sucks dick badges on their robes.
Yeah, that's what they say.
And it's just, like, another one of those things, because in terms of that sort of thematic story, I think I like it.
Yeah, no, I love what happens. I just don't understand why it happens, you know?
Right, yeah.
The whole story between Harry and Cedric, I think, is really well done. Because they do a good job of, like, Cedric is never a jerk to Harry. They're both very nice to each other and are both kind of looking out for each other. Like, even when they kind of, like, start to fight a little bit at the end, like, they still save each other and help each other out. And I think they handle it really well. And I love the division that it creates inside of Hogwarts for Harry, which has always been a safe place. I guess I think that division would still have happened if Cedric wasn't also chosen, you know?
Right.
Like, people would still think he cheated, and people would still be like, Harry sucks, but then you would also
Right.
have people that... then you could have stuff of, like, people just supporting Harry because he's from Hogwarts and still being a dick to him the rest of the time, you know?
Right.
Like, I think you could still have that same plot line and follow your own goddamn rules that you set up also.
Right, yeah. One of the other things, I think the scene... All that said, I think just on a micro level, the scene where Harry's name comes out of the cup is really effective. Mostly because of Michael Gambon's performance. How he just, like, he really seems pissed about it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, like, kind of scary, like, in that moment. Like, for Harry. Like, in Harry's shoes, you're like, oh, fuck. Like, I'm in big trouble and I didn't even fucking do anything.
Yeah, and I didn't do anything.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, people...
Although that said, I think... That's like the most famous thing that people make fun of in this movie is, did you put your name in the cup? And I still don't think that line is ideal.
No.
But it could be worse.
But
Because like the idea of that exchange is meant to be like, Dumbledore trusts Harry implicitly. And if he says he didn't do it, then he believes that he didn't do it. The fact that he comes at him so aggressively is a little bit contrary to the idea of what they're trying to do.
I think it's more... I think they were trying to, like, make it be, like, panic instead of anger, and it just came off as anger. And, I mean, I think in the context of the scene, I feel like the calmly version wouldn't have been effective. If Dumbledore just, like, walked into the room and was like, yo... buddy, did you do that? And he's like, nah, dog. And he'd be like, well, my bro said he didn't do it. Like, I feel like that wouldn't be effective at all.
Right, yeah.
Like,
he takes a hit of his blunt and says...
it says, nice dude. Anyway, but yeah. Like, I think there needs to be, like, a happy medium where, like, Dumbledore does trust Harry, but at the same time is panicked because you've had the Death Eaters march onto the game, and then you've also had... Harry Potter's name come out of the goblet. Like, this is a scary situation. So to have Dumbledore be panicked is very effective at panicking the audience because it's Dumbledore.
Right, yeah. Sorry. I'm doing my best in this podcast moving forward to stop saying, quote, the next thing I have written down is, unquote.
And the next
because I say that a fucking lot and I feel like it's annoying. Hold on. I have something. I really like, there's the moment where they are, like, doing their photo shoot, and it's, like, the 3 17-year-olds and 14-year-old Harry, and he's, like, a foot shorter than all of them.
It's really good.
And it's, like, it's really just funny in that instant, but it's also, like, really effective in, like, showing, like, how out of place he is in that context, you know?
Well, you know that's why they gave all the boys those dumb haircuts. Is because if they gave them good haircuts, they would look a little bit older. So they gave them the dumbest haircuts imaginable.
Yeah. And it's weird, like, the difference between the third movie and the fourth movie is they weirdly look older in the third movie than they do in the fourth one. Yeah, no, they totally do.
Nope, it's the short hair. It makes them look older.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's something just about the way that it's written and the way that it's shot, like, they just feel so much, like, older and more mature in the third one than they do in this one. I don't know,
honestly,
it's weird.
I think it's because in the third one, it's just Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which are basically all the same height, and then, like, adults. So, like, you don't really ever see, like, older kids around. And so when you put 14-year-old Harry Potter next to a 17-year-old who would be going to Hogwarts, then you're like, oh, he baby.
Right, yeah. And I do have to say, though, that Emma Watson just has, like, a really mature face. Like, even back then. Like, even in, like, the third one, she more or less just, like, looks like... I mean, I don't know, not an adult, but, like, a fully formed person, you know? Like, it's weird to think, like, in the third one, she was literally 13 years old. It's like, that doesn't seem right.
Well, Daniel Radcliffe also just has baby face. Like, he still has baby face.
Is true. Hold on. Did you have something else before my whatever? I mean,
just going back to this movie having fun with magic, like the Sirius and the fire scene is really, really cool.
That's the next thing I've written down. That's just a cool visual gag. That's really well executed, I think.
And hey, another magic is really stupid thing. There's that scene where Harry goes to Moody's office and Moody, like, takes off his prosthetic leg and it's like a piece of metal and it's like, Why don't you have a better prosthetic, Mad-Eye Moody? Amazing
Why isn't
Wizard
there
Man?
a spell that makes you grow your leg back? That seems like something
Yeah,
you should be
there's
able to
literally
do.
bone growing juice. What are you doing,
Yeah.
Moody?
Yeah, Harry lost his whole bones in
Yeah,
the
and we
second
brought
movie, and they
those
fixed
back.
that pretty easy. It wasn't even a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah, it was like a sentence, and then they grew his bones back, and it was no big deal.
I feel like that sequence is just like the center around which all of our discussion about Harry Potter revolves. Like,
The bone growing juice.
for some reason, we talk about the bone regrowing juice
Because
so
what
much.
the fuck is that, dude? Why do you have bone grow? Like, all of the stupid rules that come with Harry Potter magic, and you just slap a bottle of bone growing juice on the table, and you're like, this is fine. This works inside of the rules.
And they plop it down on the counter, and it's just like, it's this goofy, like, skeleton bottle.
Yeah.
And he just drinks it, and it's just like, oh, are you missing any bones? Oh, I'll fix that for you. Here's some extra
and then they
bones.
don't use it for anything ever again as like a
Yeah.
solution. Like in the 8th movie, if like Harry Potter's fighting Voldemort and then just took like a swig of bone growing juice.
And then he, like, grew some extra bones that gave him the strength to kill Voldemort.
Yeah, exactly. Harry Potter and the 2 new bones.
He just like grows another arm. Like, it just freaks Voldemort out. Like, what would you even do with that?
Dude,
It's
what the
magic. It's
hell?
not like it's gonna give him any extra magic.
No, that's where you're wrong. They're magic bones because of the bone growing juice.
Oh, God,
Harry
I wish
Potter
that
and
were
the
a
2
Chekhov's
magic
gun.
bones.
Someday, because you know Harry Potter's gonna be one of those things that we're gonna keep making shit for years and years.
Oh, absolutely. We'll never be free.
Someday when I'm a successful screenwriter, which I will be,
Yep.
and I get put on, you know, the Hermione Granger spinoff, then I'm gonna find some way to make bone regrowing juice like completely integral to the plot.
Because, God, magic is stupid.
I know, it's so dumb.
I'm going
So
to the...
okay, the relationship between Neville and Mad-Eye Moody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is he already Barty Crouch during that scene when he like takes him into his office and is like,
Yeah.
"Oh, here's some books on plants and we're cool."
Yeah, because at the wrap-up scene where Barty Crouch was like, I did it! I did all the things!
Right.
He says, who do you think gave Neville the idea to give you gillyweed if I hadn't put the book in his hand? So,
right.
Yeah. Yeah,
That
that's
just
what...
sucks because it's so like
Yeah.
heartwarming and really sweet.
Yeah, that's what sucks about this movie, and like a good kind of sucks, not like it's bad, but like in a emotionally manipulative sucks. That like Mad-Eye throughout this whole movie is really, really cool. It's an awesome
he really
character.
is.
And then
I wish they would have just pulled it so that it was like, oh, and then like 3/4 of the way through the year, I kidnapped Mad-Eye Moody or something like that.
No, it's the whole year. And so like all the really cool stuff that we got with Mad-Eye Moody has all been fake the whole time.
Right.
But then we meet Mad-Eye Moody again, and he's exactly like that.
Right, yeah.
So, like, we either had to pick one and make Mad-Eye Moody different than that, or have that be what he's like and have it be, like, Barty comes in at the end. But they didn't do either of those. It's just like, oh, that was all Barty, but also Mad-Eye Moody is also just like that all the time.
Right. I want a version of this where they take Mad-Eye Moody out of the trunk, and he's just like, oh, thanks, it was really dark in that trunk. I really appreciate that you guys let me out. It's just
hey,
like
Harry
totally
Potter, it's
different.
nice to meet you. You want me to teach you about like the dark curses or whatever? Teach you how to kill them?
Have you still not seen Spider-Man Far From Home?
I haven't.
You haven't?
I haven't. I still haven't.
Okay, I was gonna relate it back to something in that movie, but I can't.
Because when Spider-Man dies and he comes back, he's like, thanks,
You gotta
Magneto.
see it. Oh, okay, you know what? It's not important. Can I spoil, like, a minor element of it?
Sure.
So, at the very end, like, in, like, the post-credit scene, you find out that this whole time Nick Fury was one of the Skrulls from Captain Marvel. And, like, Nick Fury wasn't truly in the movie. It was, like, this scroll, like, as him, like, just being, like, reconnaissance for wherever Nick Fury actually is.
Yeah, for doing whatever.
But it's, like, Nick Fury has a pretty solid arc in the movie. And then you're just, like, surprised it wasn't Nick Fury that whole time.
So I guess... Like, that wasn't anything.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, cool, that was just nothing, and that didn't make any sense. Cool, great, thanks, really appreciate it.
Great,
God
we did that. Yeah, that's this whole movie.
Yeah, anyway.
Like, well, guess all that cool stuff we did was for naught.
Okay. And we already brought up the scene where he's fucking with the spider, but it's just still very good. It's so very good scene. Show us some more of the fucking dragons.
I know. I was about to say, with the way they do some really cool stuff with the dragon and like the actual like what is it called during the like actual tournament? Like they do a lot of like cool like sound design with like the wings and stuff that make it seem like really really big, and like the animation looks so good. And like they do a lot of really cool and creative things with the dragon because it like goes from a chase to this like, I don't know how to describe it when they're both trying to get to, when Harry's trying to get to his broom and the dragon's trying to get to Harry, and they're like slowly like getting closer to each other, like climbing on the top of the castle. Like it's such a cool action set piece, and it's such a cool scene. But then that's the only dragons, and we never talk about dragons ever again. Ever.
Well, and it's like, and they are, it's so lazy. The bit where they're pulling the dragons out of the bags, which is weird in the first place.
Yeah, why? What are these little mini dragons? Where did those come from?
But they show you Fleur's dragon. And then the other two dragons are just, like, conveniently off-screen the whole time. And it's like, fuck off, show us the other dragons, I want to see it.
Jackson, that costs money.
Yeah.
Well, and
but
it's
you're
like...
making Harry Potter 4. You've got enough money. You can pay a single artist, like, a week's worth of work to make those dragons.
No, but, like... a Harry Potter musical makes a good joke about that, where it's like, here are the other dragons, and here's Harry's dragon, the devil machine gun dragon. Good luck. And it's like, well, okay. because they're like, oh, here's your, like, I wish they would like talk about the dragons some more, and like how like each one is different, like a little bit like How to Train Your Dragon, where they're like, here's the Hungarian whatever, it does this, which is really cool, and here's the green whatever, and it does this, which is really cool. But it just feels like you get a regular dragon, you get a regular dragon, you get a regular dragon. Here's some hellspawn that's covered in needles and likes to eat babies. Here you go, Harry Potter. I hope you don't die.
I think our biggest stance as a podcast, I think we can go all in on this. Every movie with dragons should have more of them.
Should have more dragons in it.
More different kinds of dragons in them.
Yeah.
If you think you have enough dragons,
you're wrong.
Add 2 more and then come back to me, and then I'll give the okay if that's enough dragons from now on.
New different types of dragons that you talk about, even a little bit.
Yeah, they've got to have lore behind them. Yeah. This is the new rule. Any Hollywood execs thinking about making a dragon movie, it's gotta go through me from now on.
Yep. I'll have your badge.
I also wrote down in my notes just the quote, this doesn't feel fun. Like, the way the audience is responding to this, it doesn't seem like anybody's really having fun with this. They all just seem really, really worried that they're gonna watch a 14-year-old kid get fucking killed by a dragon.
Yeah. This is one of the few, like, I talk about how well this movie balances, like, having fun and being serious. I feel like the Triwizard Tournament is where it kind of fails to do that. And it's partially the movie's fault and partially J.K. Rowling's fault for writing the Triwizard Tournament. Where it's like, they want to have fun with the magic because it's cool and it's magical stuff. And we're talking about dragons and mer people and mystery mazes and all that stuff. Like, it's all cool magic stuff that they want you to be, like, excited and interested in. But then you have, like, the actual story that's going on where you're supposed to be scared because they've told you, you can die. Harry Potter could die.
Right.
And people are afraid. Like, they put so much emphasis into how young he is, like, throughout the whole movie. Right. And then when he's put in actual danger, they, like, want you to have fun, and it's just kind of hard to.
Yeah. And I mean, I said it before, and I'll say it again. Like, just have a stupid throwaway line where it's like, oh, and if it really seems like he's gonna get killed, then people will intervene. There are plans for that. Don't even tell us what the plans are. Just say that there are them, and make the audience seem like they're having more fun than they are.
Yeah, so that because even if you did that, because then in the maze where Kronk, what's his name?
Yeah, Kronk.
When Kronk tries to kill Fleur and Cedric. Man, fuck these people's names. When Kronk tries to kill Fleur and Cedric. Names. But that would be scary because you realize that whoever was there to make sure that they didn't get hurt isn't there anymore. That would be really scary. But then you have the scenes where they're in the lake and they could just kill each other at any moment, and they don't because they're children. But I don't know. I feel like that would have put more stakes to it. And if you put a safety net there and then take the safety net away.
Safety net away.
There's the safety net, and then you take the safety net away. That's much scarier than I guess just never having a safety net.
Yeah. And okay, let's talk about. This is skipping ahead a little bit, but it's relevant to what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So would the people that they put in the lake have just died if they failed? What's going on with that?
If I remember from the book, it was when he gets out with both with Fleur's little sister and Ron. I remember people being like, "You idiot! They wouldn't have died. We had the mer people would have brought her up, and Fleur would have just lost." So that was in the book. That was a part of it. That it wasn't something that Harry needed to do, but it's something that he felt like he needed to do, and that's why he got awarded second place for moral fiber. In the movie,
it super just feels like they're gonna die.
Villains.
Yeah.
The mer people are just well, you can only take one. And it's okay, why though?
Yeah, it's one of those weird things that's just I went to Hogwarts to come compete in this big sports thing, and they just killed my sister over it.
Yeah.
My sister just died because I wasn't very good at the games they made me play. Yeah, because
I'm not the best swimmer in the world.
Yeah.
I got attacked by a bunch of little gnome squid thingies.
Anyway, back to where we were. As far as the dance, this is because, this movie, as much as we talked about at the very beginning it being way, way too fast, the majority of this movie is really just it likes to luxuriate in all these things that it's setting up, Which is honestly really nice for a Harry Potter movie. What's so cool about the Harry Potter stories is that you get the plot that you get. You get the story of, the dark, you get the story, but then you have the whole rest of the year, basically, where they're just kids at school. So you do get, you get to just experience all these little moments that aren't necessarily vital to the plot, but are still interesting. So I think it's cool this movie does slow down a little bit to just, the kids go to prom, and it's awkward, and it's just every prom that you've ever been to. And I love the moment where they're talking, or where they sort of establish that Neville is really passionate about dancing, and he's discovering this for himself. Because I don't know, it just feels really good because it's you see Neville and you just see him and you're oh, he's finding his niche in this movie, and he's really happy with where he is. And they don't really, I mean, the characters kind of do, but the movie doesn't ridicule him for being into dancing.
Yeah.
You just see it and you're oh, nice, Neville. Good on you. That's cool that you this.
I think this is the book where J.K. Rowling decided that she wasn't going to be mean to Neville anymore.
Right, yeah.
Well, because this is the book where we realized that his parents had been tortured into forgetting who he was.
Right, yeah.
And then this is also where he gets into plants and herbology, and then there's stuff like the dancing, where she kind of decides, okay, he's going to be, an actual character now. And this is when we get, the whole, Harry Potter, gang of friends, instead of just Ron, Hermione, and Harry. I just forgot about Harry
Potter. Ron and Hermione and glasses.
And looks at smudge in my hand, horny. Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So, okay, I love, like, all of the, like, adolescent awkwardness in this whole area. I think it's all super good. The only time I think they sort of go a little bit too far with it, though, is the bit where Ron is like, Hermione, like, would you want to go to the dance with one of us? And she just, like, flips the fuck out. And it's like...
I get that scene. Yeah. I get it.
Maybe I'm just overestimating the emotional capacity of 14-year-olds.
Well, because it's not like, hey, Hermione, do you want to go to the dance with us? It's like, hey, Hermione, you're ugly as shit. You're not going with anybody, right? You dumbass. Like, that's what it is. It's not like, hey, Hermione, do you want to go to the dance? It's, I have no one else to go to, and I don't want to go with you, but hey. Right. Ugly girl.
I guess maybe in my mind, I just think that they should, like, because it's all so much based on, like, oh, the girl has to ask a guy. That's, like, part of the whole thing. Or I mean the other way around. The guy has to, like, ask a girl. Yeah. So in my mind, in this social situation, it would just be like, if Hermione wanted to go with one of them, she should have just said so. It's, like, where my head was at. But, like, I guess it's all, like, part of the whole thing with gender roles and whatever, but fine.
Well, it's because J.K. Rowling's not that good at gender roles, let's be real.
Right, yeah. But yeah, no, it's just like this whole, like, school dance thing feels like it takes place in, like, the 50s, you know?
It does feel like that.
So I guess that's just where my head is at, but yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't, I mean, the scene isn't like, oh, Hermione, you're being mean. It's, hey, Ron, you're being a big jerk right now. So, yeah.
Okay, first of all, the dress robes are great.
It's a funny goof.
The next thing I've written down is, what's with all the champions dating 14-year-olds?
Yeah. Yeah, Cedric is dating Cho, which is a little weird.
Yeah, and I think Cho is a year older than Harry. I think that's a thing, isn't it?
But,
yeah.
like, 15...
So it's, like, slightly less weird, but Victor Crumb goes with Hermione, which is weird.
And Victor Crumb's, like, 24 or something.
Yeah. I mean, presumably he's 17.
Yeah. He's also a professional...
right.
football player.
It's just weird. And, like, Cedric and Cho is also weird. It's slightly less weird. It's still a little bit weird.
And then Fleur goes out with some guy. I don't think he's even in frame.
Yeah, I don't think
like
we even see. And I just want to say that the band that they're dancing to has, like, a whole bunch of cameos from, like, different British rock bands make up that band. There's, like, 2 guys from Radiohead in it.
Oh, yeah. That's really funny. I never knew that.
Yeah, I read that apparently Franz Ferdinand was supposed to be the band originally.
Oh, yeah.
But they couldn't make it work, so they just had to, like, pull in, like, any British rock musicians who happened to be available that day. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, first of all, that scene in the boat, like, the dance itself is, like, really, really pretty. Much prettier than it had any right to be. But what I love about that scene is that it's so high school dance that it, like, starts out so pretty, and then by the end of the night when they pull out, like, the real band and everyone's, like, dancing and stuff, and, like, all the chairs are, like, flipped over, and there's, like, nobody here, and there's, like, crap on the ground.
There's,
and
like, garbage everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, this is right. This feels right.
And that shot of, like, everybody up at the music, or, like, up at the band, like, dancing, and then you, like, sort of pan over the crowd, and you see them just, like, sitting by themselves at the tables at the back is so good.
And then, like, Crumb and Hermione, like, walk away, and you could see, like, kind of people, like, kind of leaving and just, like, kind of, like, hanging around. Like, I don't know how they nailed that so much, but, like, it just totally felt like high school dance.
Right. And I also yeah, go ahead.
Well, and then you have Neville and Ginny dancing, which is just adorable.
Yeah. The, one of the things in this, and I guess, I don't know, it's all part of the weird, maybe I'm over analyzing the fact that they're 14-year-olds and they have weird feelings about dances, but I don't buy that Hermione would be into Victor Crumb, really.
Yeah, that's just Hermione being a girl. I mean, it's just, even if she's not that super into him, he is the handsome, popular dude. And she kind of talks about that a little bit later with Harry. She's like, I mean, we don't really talk a lot. Like, we don't have that much in common, but, like, he's nice. And, like, that's, like, it. She's like, I would totally, she had tons of fun with him at the dance, but it's like, it's just, I don't know. He's not my boyfriend.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess that's part of it's true. And, you know, I guess, and presumably with all the stuff from earlier with her having her feelings hurt about the fact that the guys were never asking her about anything, the fact that somebody asked her and she would just say yes, pretty much regardless of who it really was.
I mean,
you know.
yeah.
I want to talk about the communal prefect's bathroom.
Yeah. Why did the prefects get this weird giant mega bathtub?
Yeah. And it's like
supposedly for more than one person?
Yeah, no, it's not just for one person.
No.
Why at this dormitory high school is there just a communal bathroom? That seems fucked up to me.
Only for the good kids though. Maybe because they know that the prefects won't fuck, but like
maybe that's part of it.
Still, it's
like we know that you guys are the narcs, so we know that you guys will follow the rules.
It's like
in here.
even if it's like he says that it's the male prefect. It's like the boys' prefect bathroom. But, like, even within the same gender, it's like, why?
Right, yeah.
I have never wanted to take a bath where I had to clean myself with another human being present and also cleaning themselves.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
And it's like, if Harry was just, like, in a bathing suit, I would have no questions.
No, but he's
like,
buck-ass nude.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like a big hot tub that the nice kids get. Like, that's fine. That's
like,
cool.
that makes sense. I guess that is kind of just a thing in Japan. Like, communal bathrooms are, like, totally just a thing. But we're not in Japan. We're in Hogwarts.
Harry Potter
we're
and the Goblet of Fire is
50s.
probably my favorite Japanese movie.
Yeah, Harry Potter. Yeah.
Sorry, did it just take you a second to catch up?
My brain is buffering.
By the way, my favorite character in Harry Potter, back for this movie, Moaning Myrtle.
Back to sexually harassed Harry Potter.
Yeah, back to being a literal sex criminal in this movie.
Yeah, like she's a ghost that lives in a toilet and she's perpetually 13. What did you expect?
Exactly. It's so perfect. I love
She's
Moaning
like
Myrtle
if Tina
so much.
Belcher was a ghost that died in your bathroom.
Yeah, precisely.
But
can you press charges against ghosts?
In this universe, I don't know.
I wonder if they just can do infinite crime.
Okay, wait. No magic can bring someone back from the dead. Then what the fuck are ghosts, guys?
Okay, they're not back from the dead.
But you can, like, chat them up and hang out. I mean, it's pretty much.
But don't they say, I remember they talk about it in one of the books, don't they say it's, like, a choice that you have to make yourself?
Probably.
Yeah.
But why isn't there ghost mom and dad? Like, that would be better than no mom and dad, you know?
Okay. It's like a disturbing half-life, right?
I don't know.
I don't think we should be
the
wishing
ghost
that
lore
on
in Harry
Lily
Potter.
and James Potter. It's not like you just get to come back and chill out in the world. Like, there's a cost to it.
I mean, yeah. It's just like the Black Mirror episode where they have to choose between dying naturally or having your subconscious uploaded to the cool VR cloud.
Right, yeah. Okay, I just want to say, now that we're at, unless there's something I'm missing, now that we're at the second trial, the first one was very fun because it's something happening right in front of everybody and everybody gets to watch.
Yeah.
The second two trials are the shittiest spectator sports anyone has ever come up with.
Let's watch these children go into something, and then we're all just gonna stand around and wait to see if they come out.
To see who comes out and win.
And if.
Yeah.
What's weird about this film is that there's lots of cuts in this movie, like after someone says something that like leads into the next scene, and then they cut to the scene. And they do that at least like 3 times. But they always like wait like just a little bit too long after the line has been said to like cut to the next thing. Yeah. Because I think it's like Harry and Neville talking, and Neville's like, "Oh, I could get you some gillyweed." Cut to next scene. It's like, okay.
The next thing I have written down is just that moment afterwards where Fleur comes over and like kisses Ron on both cheeks and like says something, and Ron just goes, "Merci." I think that's really good. I think that's really funny.
Notice that.
Oh, it's so good.
Merci. Yeah. I did notice something kind of cool that's after the second trial, and and Barty Crouch and Harry are talking, and Barty Crouch is talking about family or some shit, whatever the hell he was talking about in that scene. But, then Mad Eye Moody comes over and, like, starts talking to him, and then he does that thing where he, like, licks his lips, and then Barty Crouch just, like, totally drops out of the conversation. I thought that was super cool, because it was showing that Barty Crouch recognized that this was his son, and I thought that was a super cool thing.
Right.
What's not as cool is David Tennant's character decision to do that weird licking his lips thing, like he's Heath Ledger, and it's... David Tennant doesn't do a good job in this movie.
No, I don't really think he does. And I think this is before he was even on Doctor Who, right?
Yeah, because this was like... I guess this is still the 90s. When is this?
No, it's not the 90s.
Not the 90s?
Okay, well, so David Tennant started being on Doctor Who in 2006.
Oh, really? I guess it's British television, so it seems like it's the 90s.
Yeah.
Burn on the BBC.
This is 2004. So yeah, this is before he was even Doctor Who. So he's still like pretty much an unknown actor at this point.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just like overacts, and he has that line at the end where he's like, I'll show you yours if you show you mine. And he shows it to Darth Mark, and it's like, why did you make that penis joke, David Tennant?
Right.
Why did you do that?
Okay, you know what I've never understood?
What?
The phrase, I'll show you yours if you show me.
Yeah, we both said it really wrong.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that, like, is a phrase that, like, people say.
Yeah.
What scenario is that based on?
It's penis having.
Right, but in what context would you be like, hey, I'll show you my dick if you show me your dick?
I don't know, Jackson.
So if you're counting on me, I'm telling you that that's never happened to me, at least. I've never had that requested upon me.
Well, man, you need to get out more. I don't know.
Next time I'm, like, out at the club, I'm just gonna be like, hey, I'll show you mine if you show me yours to some guy. And he'll just be like,
Oh, you know what? I think it's trying to get girls to just have them show you their boobs. I think that's another thing.
Maybe, it could be.
Either way, it's never a good thing, and no one has ever said it. It's definitely a sex joke, though. Like, no matter what David Tennant was trying to say, that's what it was.
Yeah. So there's that moment where the trio, and we haven't really talked about it, but there's all the stuff about Harry and Ron getting in that big fight and then, like, kind of making up later. And I think it's all really good and really well executed.
Yeah, I don't have any notes about it because it just, like, felt really natural and it felt
it totally works. And it's totally, like, just the, like, quintessential, like, young fight where it's
totally.
all of this is based on something that wasn't even really a big deal in the first place.
Yeah.
But it's just, like, the fact that neither of you are, like, fessing up to what happened or, like, talking about what's going on. You just keep getting angrier and angrier at each other.
This is the only time in the whole Harry Potter series where Hermione says, like, ugh, boys, and it's, like, actually effective and means anything.
Right, yeah, like,
because when they make up and Hermione's, like, next to them and she's like, oh my god, you guys. Like, it's really effective there. Every other time she does that, it doesn't work and it's annoying. Right. But that one time, she's right.
But there's that bit where, like, the trio is in the woods with Hagrid, and they find Barty Crouch Sr.'s body.
His corpse.
And there's literally absolutely no context for that scene at all.
No,
we don't know
just
what
like...
they're doing. We don't know why they're in the woods. We don't know, like, what, like, it's just they cut to them in the woods and they find a body. It's like, what the fuck? What is this?
Yeah, no, literally, they were like, when Harry goes to talk to Barty Crouch right after the event, you just hear Ron go, like, see you at Hagrid's afterwards. And then they go to Hagrid's. I thought they would, like, have tea or something, because that would make sense. But instead, they just wander through the woods for a little bit and find a corpse. You know, Americana.
Who was it that did that YouTube Red show called, like, Do You Want to See a Dead Body?
I don't know.
It was, like... I never watched it, but I saw, like, trailers for it, and it was just somebody who did... It was basically like a talk show, except, like... And, you know, it wasn't, like, real. It was, like, staged. But it was, like, the conceit was just, like, whoever it was and the celebrity they have on walking through the woods to go find a dead body that he knows about.
That's really good.
Yeah. Maybe I should check that out. I don't know if that was actually funny or not, but it was a really good idea.
It sounds really good. I hope it's not wildly problematic.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it turns out it was real dead bodies, and like families are really upset.
Oh
and
no,
like,
Logan Paul.
No.
Oh no. What I is this gag throughout the whole movie that I think is really good of everyone just knowing Harry Potter is the polyjuice potion kid, which I think is really good.
When is the other time they bring it up?
Well, because when Moaning Myrtle shows up, she's like, "I found some polyjuice potion in the drain. Is that you again?" And Harry's like, "I'm naked." And then later, Snape yells at him for stealing his polyjuice potion stuff. He's like, "I know you and your friends are making polyjuice potion again."
Right. No, you know what it's... Okay, look, I kind of missed my opportunity, but say, Adeline, I need you to set me up with, say I found some polyjuice potion in the drain. Was that you again? Say that again.
Okay. I found some polyjuice potion in the drain. Is that you again?
And then Harry says, "No, I don't like jacking off the shower. I do it in my room." But
No, that's gross. I don't like that.
Because it's like jizz.
Yeah, no, I got it. I understood. I just wanted, like, one more joke like that, where, like, someone's like, "What? Be careful who you're talking to. It might be Harry Potter with some polyjuice potion." Like, I just wanted, like, one more goof to solidify it.
No, I want, like, somebody walking by to say something like that and have the shot of Harry just, like, throwing up his hands, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, guys!
I did that one time.
And Hermione turned into a cat when she did that, and we're not gonna make fun of her about that.
Yeah, we're not gonna do it again.
Yeah. I did it once, and we accomplished nothing when we did it.
Super poorly, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's this shot when Harry goes into the maze.
Mm-hmm.
And the doors, there's like music, and like the doors like close behind him, and suddenly there's just like this really, really tight close up on his face for like a solid silence. 4 seconds, and it's just silent. It's so cool.
It's super good.
Like, and just the fact that it's like so claustrophobic, and it just puts you like right up in his grill right in that moment. It's so smart.
The way that they use the pep band is so effective.
Yeah, man.
First of all, the pep band is so high school. Like, even, like, they, like, have a shot of them where, like, they're doing that, like, thing where, like, some of them are, like, popping up and some of them are, like, popping down in time with the music. That's, like, one of those, like, choreographed things. That's just, like, quintessential being in pep band. But, and then, like, at the beginning of the tournament, like, that pep band is, like, a happy, like, comforting noise because it's the reminder that this is supposed to be fun. Right. And then when they actually go into the maze and there's silence and that's taken away from them, it makes it scary.
Yeah.
But then when they come back with the corpse of Cedric and they keep playing the pep music until they realize that something has gone wrong, it's just oof, it's so good.
Yeah, I want to wait to touch on all that stuff at the end because all of it's so fucking good.
So
and
good.
I just want to put it on a little bow at the end.
I know.
And also another thing that they do in the maze, just filmmaking wise, that I think is really cool, is that they play around with like the eye lines of the characters.
Oh yeah. Because
it's a maze and you're going every which way.
So like we're not gonna have any context for where we are no matter what you do.
Yeah, and so it's cool because like, and also because it's so uniform around them, it's super disorienting because you like are switching between characters a lot of the time, and their eye lines are totally different every time, and you're never sure if when you cut between two people if they're in the same place or if you're cross-cutting to somewhere different, and it feels really intentional and it's like really effective in being sort of disorienting.
And they have those. It's the shot where Cedric and Harry are running for the cup, and Cedric gets pulled down by the plants. And you have that moment of, like, Harry, like, looking at him and looking at the cup. But then the cup is, like, in that, like, long hallway that they have, like, stretched and, like, at an angle. It's a really cool shot.
Yeah. So, okay. Now they've grabbed the cup. They're at the graveyard.
What a fun Grim Reaper grave that the Riddles have.
Right.
What a fun Disneyland statue.
But what I want to say is, do they say, like, even a little bit where that little baby Voldemort came from?
I don't remember. Because what's weird about this movie is that they show you weird little baby Voldemort. Because what's so cool in the book is that they're not like, that's Voldemort. They just like, there's this figure and it's carrying this bundle that looks like a baby and they drop it into this pot of liquid. So it's like this kind of like scary moment because you assume that it's some kind of infant, but actually it's Voldemort. So it's really cool. I have no idea why he's a little baby. It has something to do with unicorn blood, I guess.
Yeah,
like, it's gotta, right?
You know, it's that whole thing about, like, oh, you know, like, traditionally, like, you can't bring somebody back from the dead with magic. Yeah. But if you're Voldemort's followers and you're getting into, like, real sketchy shit, it's like, you could figure it out, kind of.
Well, and then you got Voldemort with his Horcruxes, so he's never actually died.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that. Okay, yeah.
All of their stuff for bringing him back is, like, bringing him back to, like, an actual body, because he's never actually died. He's just turned into a weird little baby fetus.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I totally forgot about the whole Horcrux thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah, well, because they don't bring it up until the very last book, because they didn't
plan for it until the very last book.
But that was the piece I was missing, because I was like, okay, well, if he was dead, like, how did you do this?
Stupid rules.
Yeah. But now that I remember that that's a thing, it's like, you know, taking his spirit and putting it into this little frail little body is like a step I'm willing to be fuzzy about.
And that whole scene of, like, the ritual is disgusting.
Yeah, man.
Like, it's when he puts the weird little baby in the cauldron. And he doesn't just dump the bundle, he does like a death at sea, where he, like, does a little magic trick, like, whoosha, where he puts the baby into the cauldron.
Right.
And then, like, you have the scene where, like, the bubbling liquid is, like, this flesh color, and then they put Harry's blood into it, and then it turns red, and then weird, gross fetus Voldemort comes into it, and is naked for, like, a half second. Like, it's very well done, but it's disgusting.
Right. I think that scene at the end is easily the best, like, 10 minutes of any of these Harry Potter movies so far.
Oh, yeah. Dude,
Ralph Fiennes is so good as Voldemort.
I know.
And that whole sequence where they're, like, having that duel, and he's just, like, talking at him. He's so, like, excited and confident to be alive. Yeah. And he's just like, if anyone talks about you ever again, Harry, it's going to be about how you begged for death and how I gave it to you. Yeah. Like, and he's just, like, chatting him up. It's so scary.
I love the way that Voldemort talks, because it's almost in, like, a familiar kind of way.
Yeah,
because,
totally.
Like, it's, like, they've got this, like, cool kind of, like, chemistry going on. And it's just so good. Like, the way that he talks to him, it's just, like, so good. Mm-hmm. And, like, he's totally just, like, playing with him, because it's Voldemort. And, like, the fact that you have him enter the scene as this terrifying little fetus baby.
Right.
And then, like, that's how he enters it. And then when he comes back and you see Voldemort with his weird nose and his snake eyes, and, like, he's, like, a scary figure, because he is... Yeah, man. Because there's no nuance. He is just evil. Like, he is the epitome of evil. He is bad. And then you have all the Death Eaters coming, and you have this moment where he's, like, turning on all of his Death Eaters, and then he, like, Harry says something, and then he turns on Harry. Like, it's just so good. Like, the scene is so good.
Right. I made a note that, like, presumably Voldemort didn't always look like this. This is, like, just what he looks like now that he's been revived.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool to see, like, a flashback sequence with, like, Voldemort, like, during his original reign, where he's, like, got hair and a nose and, like, looks like a dude, you know? I think that'd be something we never really get to see.
Yeah, I mean, we see Tom Riddle, which is kind of that, but different. Yeah. We never see, like, an adult Tom Riddle, though. Right. I see what you're saying.
I want to see, like, a regular-ass, no-makeup Ralph Fiennes, like, doing his evil Dark Lord thing.
What's really fun about looking back on the second Harry Potter movie is that Voldemort's whole thing about coming back through the diary is that he's just gonna get his hot teen body back again.
Right, yeah.
I'm gonna be sexy 15-year-old Tom Riddle. Let's go.
And okay, I don't like the parents coming out of the wand thing.
Yeah, that's J.K. Rowling's fault, though.
It's just, like, that's just, like, the perfect encapsulation of just, like, Harry Potter brand bullshit. That's just, like, this is nothing, and the scene isn't even really that better for having it, and it just doesn't make any sense, and you're just making up these rules as you go along.
I mean, it's just another log on the bonfire of Harry being saved by other people's actions and him feeling guilty about it. So he's like, I didn't defeat Voldemort, I got help. I didn't win the Triwizard Tournament, I got help. I didn't blah blah blah, I got help. Which is a theme later, and that's important. But it's like, I don't know. Even if it was just like a voice in his head instead of having the actual ghosts manifest, that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember if they explain what's happening in the books. It's something where because they're connected and their wands have the same whatever, and because they have the same blood or whatever, that he for some reason he gets to see all the lives that have been taken by Voldemort's wand. But only the four most recent ones that we care about.
I think that was the thing. I think they say, like, in the book, it's, like, only the most recent ones. And because he died right after he killed his parents, it's, like, Cedric Diggory and his parents are, like, the most recent
and
spells.
the old man from the house.
Right, who's also just there.
Who's just there. Yeah, it's funny, because in that scene, he's literally just, like, standing there, like, well, sup, guys.
But yeah, I don't know, and it's weird because it gets weirdly grating having Harry like have these weird total. I mean, people use the term Deus Ex Machina wrong all the time, but every single one of these is like textbook Deus Ex Machina right at the very end, and it's never anything that Harry does. It's just total coincidence. Something comes and bails him out every single time, and it's like it's so like irritating at this point.
Well, it's always because of something. But it's always stupid. Yeah. It's always love magic or Harry and Voldemort being twinsies magic. Like, it's always one of those two things.
Yeah.
And both of those two things are kind of flimsy on their own anyway.
Right. And I don't know, and, you know, you can't, like, criticize it too harshly because, like you say, it sort of becomes a theme later, right?
Yeah.
Where Harry, like, becomes aware of the fact that he never has an earned victory, really.
Yeah.
Everything is just coincidence or something that he happens to already be. But it's still just frustrating as a viewer who's experiencing it. It's like, you want Harry to fucking do something for once, you know? Like, he needs to get out of a situation because he's brave, or because he's good at magic, or because he's intelligent, like something besides just the fact that he's happens to have been the special kid, you know.
I think what would have made this scene better is if he's in this duel with Voldemort and he feels like it's do or die. Like, I have to kill Voldemort right now. Like, that's what I have to do. I'm 14 and I'm terrified. And then he gets the voice of his parents in his head that's like, just break the connection, like, grab Cedric and go. Like, you don't need to kill Voldemort right now. Like, you need to run away. Like, just having that quick thing is, I think, would be so much better than having the whole spiel of all of the ghosts coming out and having this weird detailed conversation with them while Voldemort just kind of, like, looks at them. Like, it's weird. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't flow. Especially when Cedric Diggory's like, take my body back to my father. It's like, I was gonna do that anyway. Like, you can give me credit for that. Like,
right, yeah.
I wasn't just gonna leave your corpse here.
Okay, well, if you say so.
Yeah, are you sure?
But yeah, I don't know. And I don't know, I think it's just one of those things, and because you're so used to him just getting bailed out by bullshit, like, it robs the scene. Because, like, the fact that he's just, like, by himself with Voldemort, surrounded by his followers, with nothing on him except his wand. It's like, this is a no-win scenario. And it you know, the rest of the scene outside of the bullshit works super well. But, like, it needs to feel more hopeless. I want to be more scared for Harry than I am in that scene.
Yeah.
Because, like, I need to feel the immediate urgency of, like, I am going to die. Like, this is not a scenario that I'm going to walk away from, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you get just, like, a little bit of that do or die where he, like, comes back out and, like, faces Voldemort and they have that actual duel, but, like, it's just, again, it's just not enough. It's not pushed to what it could be pushed to do.
Right. And yeah, so anyway, they grab the port key and they come back, and it's God, it's so fucking good.
It's
Where
so
like the band is playing and they're like, "Oh, Harry, you did it, hooray!" And like Harry's just like screaming and crying over a dead body, and it takes everybody like 45 seconds before they realize what's wrong.
It takes a grip.
Like, oh, it's so good. Sorry, just a second. But yeah, and then like right from that though, we just like sort of dovetail into the whole like Barty Crouch dealy, where he's like talking to Mad Eye Moody, and he's just like, "Oh no, my potion happens to be running out right now, and I just happen to be out of it. I didn't bring any extras. Whoopsie daisy!" Like, what the? It's just like when they go outside in Prisoner of Azkaban, and Lupin's like, "Uh-oh, it's a full moon right now."
Right now.
Okay,
Have you been taking your potion? Nope, I ran out.
No, I ran out of it yesterday. Who'd think?
Whoa.
Yeah, it's just so stupid.
Yeah.
And then I also wrote down, like, Mad Eye Moody is locked in this giant trunk with, like, a bazillion padlocks, and it's clearly, like, enchanted the fuck out of.
Yeah.
But Snape just waves his wand and it's just fucking open for everybody to see. It's like, what's the point of anything in this world?
Yeah, like, no. Hey, magic's dumb.
Magic's so dumb. And it's like, this even is clearly like an enchanted chest that's like designed to be hard to open for magicians.
Yeah.
But still, Snape is just like, oh, here's my opening a chest spell. Like, bloop, there you go.
Yeah, like, you could have a spell to lock a door, but guess what? There's a door unlock spell, so you're just, it don't work. Yeah. This is why the Green Lantern is so dumb. Like, it's the same exact reason.
Right.
It's like, here comes a big fist, here comes a big shield. Like, it's literally, it's stupid, it's dumb. It's third graders playing on the playground.
Okay. I really love that there's sort of this thread, at least in these movies so far, of like Hogwarts being actively transparent with their students. Because in this one they say, like, you know, the Ministry doesn't want us to tell you this, but here's what fucking happened. Voldemort came back and he killed Cedric Diggory. That's why he's dead. And, you know, in the second one, like, there's all this stuff with the Basilisk and Professor McGonagall. It's just like, yeah, here's what's up. A long time ago, there was this thing, and we think it might be happening again now. And it's just like, it's weirdly off character for this franchise to have
to
this
tell you anything.
to just like cut through a layer of bullshit just because we don't need it, really, you know.
Well, that's so good, because then you get into like the 6th and 7th books and story, and then where you have people who have been told by Dumbledore that Voldemort is back, but they refuse to believe it, and they choose to believe the propaganda and all that stuff. And it's like. Right. And it comes back in a really cool way that transparency is kind of super important, because it decides on whether or not people want to believe something, because it's true, but then it comes down to, like, they've been told, they know, but do they want to believe it is, like, what it comes down to.
Right, yeah. So yeah, all that stuff, Barty Crouch Jr., it's fine.
David now it's Tennant time for the wrap-up with Dumbledore, where he explains everything and manages to explain nothing.
Yeah, and, like, David Tennant's making some decisions.
Yeah.
I hate the way this movie ends.
Do you think they told him to do the weird licking thing?
I don't know.
Or if that was full-on DT.
I hate the way this movie ends. Because it's like... At the end, it's, like, weirdly, like, nostalgic and, like, good old timesy. And he's, like, looking out at all his friends and, like, smiling a little bit, like, I had a good year. And then the three of them are together, like, do you think we'll ever have a regular year at Hogwarts? It's like, fuck off. Like, this is not the time to be, like, nostalgic and looking back over the past year and all the fun times you had. It's like... Voldemort is back, and Cedric Diggory got killed right in front of you. Like, this is real shit going on.
Yeah, well, I think that's
you need to be affected by it.
I think that's why they have to have that nostalgia, because there's that moment where they're kind of walking away, and Hermione goes, like, kind of stops for a second. She's like, everything's gonna be different now. Like, Voldemort's fucking back. And so for them to, like, kind of be nostalgic and kind of be, like, loose about it, I think is important, because they're like, hey... all the good times that we've had at Hogwarts are probably never gonna happen again. So it's like, can we just have a regular year at Hogwarts? Like, kind of like a tongue-in-cheek, like, haha, lol kind of thing is, like, kind of important, because I think they kind of realize that, hey, like, there are dark times ahead that we're gonna have to deal with.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I think if that was what they were really going for, they didn't pull it off.
I totally agree with you there.
Because, yeah, it ends on way too positive a note. I want to see these characters really wrestling with the fact that, like, shit really just hit the fan and we all fucked up really bad.
What really bugs me about this scene is that at Cedric's quote-unquote, like, funeral, where they're, like, having that discussion with everyone at school, and where Dumbledore says, like, if you remember the friendships that you have made this year, then everything that Cedric represented would not have been for nothing. Right. Which is a really biting and heartfelt thing to say. For sure. And that ending scene where all of the different schools are all mixed together and they're all saying goodbye and it's all really sad because they're never gonna see each other again, all that stuff. But that would have been so much better if they hadn't spent the whole movie making jokes about how the other schools didn't like the people from the other schools. Like, there's so many shots of the girls from Fleur's school, like, being mean and, like, turning around every time a boy from a Hogwarts school approaches them, or, like, the Crumb guys being weird Russian military men. Like, they make such a joke and, like, do so much stuff with, like, oh, how they're, like, superior and, like, don't like each other, and how the schools aren't mixing well. And then you have, like, this emotional beat at the end, which relies on them having mixed well, and it just... It doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Like, even Hermione's thing at the dance, where she's like, this was about, like, making friendships with people, and that's what I'm doing. And it's like, they even make fun of Hermione for making friendships, and Ron says you're fraternizing with the enemy. Like, the whole thing has been, like, a division between the schools. They've been competing. They've been angry at each other. They have not been mixing well. And to then, at the end, just say that they have been that whole time feels like a heartfelt moment that we didn't earn.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's just, like... And because that's the thing. It's like, this movie is really whack in a lot of ways. Yeah. And this is just one of them. Like, the dismount on that fucking great 15 minutes right before the end. And they just totally... It's like he did some, like, beautiful, gorgeous flip, and then just landed directly on their face and, like, shoved their nose bone into their brain and died.
And
like,
died instantly.
Yeah, exactly.
And died on impact.
So yeah, we made the executive decision that we're not going to do our sort of secondary things on these Harry Potter episodes anymore. Because we're just going to give in to the fact that it's going to take us 90 minutes to go through everything.
We just talk about Harry Potter for so long.
Right. Hey, Adeline, do you want to hear... I'm going to stop saying the star thing because a lot of the times it's not exactly one star. But do you want to hear a really bad review of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban?
That's not the film we watched.
Goblet of Fire, I mean.
Yeah,
This is a 1.5-star review by Letterboxd user Horatio Pereira. Pereira. That's right. Pereyra. Pereira. Anyway, he says, I really despise this movie for having such an impactful and important ending for the series' future, after the rest of it being Harry Potter just fucking around in a stupid tournament, therefore I hated the story. I gotta say, it still had some good aspects, like the characters, dialogue, and directing.
So, what part did you like of it again?
My name is Jackson McMurray.
My name's Adeline McMurray.
And this is No Nerds Allowed.
There are no nerds allowed. What? You know what wasn't bad about this bad film? The direction, the art style, the characters, and the story. That was all good. Other than that, hot garbage.
Fucking stupid movie. I'm also just still trying to parse, like, what he's actually trying to say in that opening
that,
sentence.
like, opening thing that you said about, like, having a good ending for the series.
Yeah.
And then going to the tournament? What?